And as offensive as Trump's rhetoric was yesterday in his posts, it got more dangerous overnight. Joe and Mika, just in the last couple hours, at a post on Truth Social just was well after midnight, Trump says this, his usual routine about how he's innocent. But then he says this about D.A. Bragg. He says about the consequences of a potential charge. He says, does he know that, quote, potential death and destruction in such a false charge could be catastrophic for our country? That is Donald Trump, the former president of the United States, who we already know incited violence once on January 6th, suggesting that there could be death and destruction, in his words, if he were to be charged now.
So first he's threatening the DA with an image, with a baseball bat image. I mean, again, Jonathan, let's just back up. Let's show that image again.
Yep.
If I can tell you, at least when I was a lawyer in Northwest Florida, if you did that, held that baseball bat up and put it on social media, if there were social media back then, and there was a split screen with a prosecutor, I mean, you could expect a knock on your door. I mean, that is threatening violence against a prosecutor and trying to get other people to commit acts of violence against a prosecutor. And then, Jonathan, if you could read it again, and what's the timestamp on that, where Donald Trump is now threatening death and destruction if he's, get this, if he's possibly charged, could just be a misdemeanor. Death and destruction and riots for a misdemeanor charge? What did he say again, and what time did he say it?
So this, with Truth Social, it doesn't timestamp with the precise time, but it tells you approximately how many hours ago. So this is about 5 hours ago. So therefore, after midnight. We can safely say after midnight. I will simply read it. What kind of person can charge another person, in this case a former president, who got more votes, yada, yada, yada. We'll skip that. How can you charge this person with a crime when it is known by all that no crime has been committed, and also known...
No, that's not known by all.
Not known by all, but also no crime has been committed, and also known that potential death and destruction in such a false charge could be catastrophic for our country. Why and who would do such a thing? Only a degenerate psychopath that truly hates the United States of America. That was posted after midnight by the former president of the United States, calling for death, saying there could be death and destruction if he was charged with, as you say, potentially just a misdemeanor.
I got to say, Rev, I want to go back to what you said. There's a guy who's shaking in his boots. Now, of course, he's threatening the lives of other people. He's threatening the lives of other people, but you read these tweets or whatever you call it on that failing platform, and this is a guy who, you're right, he's out of his mind, scared. He's melting down, and now he's threatening riots that will lead to death and destruction if he gets charged with a misdemeanor.
Any man that is up in the middle of the night that is going with this kind of language is scared to death. The problem, though, is in his fear, is that he is inciting people, no matter how small they have become as a crowd, to do something. And if you add to that him having the photo with the bat at a sitting prosecutor, I mean, it's unimaginable. You're right, Joe. No. We'd be arrested for that. And then you have members of Congress, chairmen of committees, telling a prosecutor who is in the middle of an investigation to come and give us the evidence. I mean, they're really tampering with an investigation. This is not an investigation that has concluded. Before we know even whether there's an indictment or a charge, they're saying, bring us the evidence? I mean, this is unheard of. What is Jordan talking about? They're in the middle of a grand jury proceeding. You want the prosecutor to leave the proceeding and tell me what evidence you're giving, and we're going to put it on national television so the target can understand the evidence? I mean, we are going beyond all bounds of what is legal, what's respectful, and we have a man who's scared to death that is up in the middle of the night inciting violence, having a photo with a bat because he's scared to death that he's going to have to face this prosecution.
Well, and just to show you, Mika, how quickly this is devolving for a man who's completely out of control, just completely, he's melted down. We go from a lower third that says Trump threatens DA with violent imagery to now Trump threatens DA with death and destruction. Again, using his own words, he's now threatening a DA with death and destruction. I'm sorry, is that legal? Is that legal? I want to know what would happen if somebody that worked in a school threatened a DA with death and destruction.
I mean, actually, that's a great parallel. And the only thing I find shocking here is this is a moment for Republicans in Congress to step up.
They won't.
This is where Trumpers who support Donald Trump, who are still in leadership positions, who are afraid of their base, need to say, you know what, this is the line. Mm-hmm. And they never draw the line. This is no surprise that Donald Trump is acting this way, amplifying violent imagery. He suggested that Second Amendment people could act against Hillary Clinton.
A Second Amendment solution.
Remember Charlottesville? This is the beginning of his presidency. He said there were very fine people among a group of violent white nationalists. He blamed the media the day after pipe bombs were sent to Democrats that he had attacked. And of course, he praised the January 6th insurrectionists. So it's not surprising his behavior. What's surprising to me is that Republicans in Congress and media entities continue to promulgate this or allow it to happen without reporting on it.